AskReddit by Reddit Universe. What is your $1 million idea? An app that lets you fall asleep on trains and buses. It's linked to GPS and it triggers an alarm when you're one stop less than half a mile away. It would be so useful, for me at least. Made this exact app. It was called Stop Alarm. Less than 1,000 downloads, so we stopped supporting it. Sad pensive face. Edit. Tie for the feedback. Okay, turns out it's still on the App Store, just not listed in results. This app is from 2012 when I was working with Zdebek Games, and it was probably my second or third app for a smartphone. I was commuting to work. Wife just had a baby and I was tired of missing my stops when I fell asleep on the train because of exhaustion from working newborn hours. It has not been updated since that time, and depending on your device it may not work at all. It's Android only. Someone else suggested using Google Maps in this comment chain, and that is probably 1,000 times better than Stop Alarm, but for those of you who want to try it, here is a direct link to Play Store for Stop Alarm. I always thought there should be an insulated can bottle where you could crack a seal and then shake it so the liquid inside would become hot. It could be soup or coffee or tea. I know there's some instant heat products that use air into oxygen, like in hot hands and those heaters in MREs, but I've never seen what I'm thinking of. Edit. Just to clarify, there would an outside insulated container, then a thin layer full of some heating element that's activated by oxygen, then the final product in the middle that would be warmed heated. I think it's a neat idea, but it would also be fairly wasteful. An allergen indicator strip stick for food, so people with food allergies can double check their food when eating out at restaurants. It exists for certain foods. I read about it for gluten specifically, but they said they had more in the works. The downside is that it cost about $0.05 per test. A shower that once you feel you're clean enough, you press a button or something and it starts functioning like a fountain and recycling the water all the time you want, so you can relax in the shower under the hot water for long periods of time without wasting large amounts of water. A movie production studio tycoon game. You get to hire actors, writers, schmooze with producers, purchase props and build sets. Let the film be recorded, then edit the hilarious results. Once it's finished you release it and hope it doesn't bomb in the theaters. It'd be fun if there was time progression, too. So you start in the 1890s making silent films and work your way up to modern cinema. A cat built to fit over a Roomba. A computer operating system or a Windows skin for elderly people that completely simplifies using a computer. You vastly overestimate old people's ability to not understand technology. My grandmother can't even answer a damn FaceTime call. Hint, you push answer, grandma. That's not an old people problem. That's an I refuse to learn a new thing problem. My grandpa was ahead of me when it came to home automation and gadgetry, and I make a living in corporate IT. Meanwhile I work with people in their 30s who put in a trouble ticket for a broken printer that I resolved with turned on the printer. This happens once a year without fail. Age is not the main issue when it comes to technology troubles. Obstinances. Cold and flu pack delivery service, specifically on college campuses. Imagine hitting a few buttons and someone will deliver hot soup, tissues, and DayQuil for when you're feeling disgusting. Mobile fried chicken and biscuits place that is only open on Sundays outside of every damn Chick-fil-A. Call it Chick-fil-B. A toilet with a scale in it to weigh your hit. Okay, it might not be $1 million idea, but I'd buy it. Soundproof wallpaper. A connection among local food banks, homeless shelters, clothing giveaways, and other charity resources. One that could be accessed by the public and updated in real time. Example, Alice and her 3 kids are being abused by Alice's husband Bob, and need to leave the house forever. Alice could get online, on a library computer with a burner email account, and go to the website. She could answer a few questions about her predicament, and be referred to the domestic violence shelter, so her and her kids could have food and shelter for the next few days. Her case would also be referred to legal aid, the church down the street doing clothing giveaways, the moving company that doesn't charge for victims of domestic violence, and an organization that gives grants to people looking to rent apartments without at first last month's rent. Then the domestic violence shelter could go on the website and mark that they have 1 adult bed and 3 child beds occupied, and only have X remaining. Another example, Dave the heroin addict just got kicked out of his house. He'd go online, find a shelter for the next few days, and also get referrals to rehab and Suboxone. If he took those referrals, the rehab and the Suboxone clinic would reduce their availability by one patient. If you can find a way to cheaply extract potable water from the ocean, you'll probably become the richest man on earth in the next few decades. I want a phone that gets nervous when I leave it behind and walk away from it. Like a toddler, if you walk away from a toddler in a shopping mall, he'll get nervous and start going, "Mommy, mommy." I want my phone to get that way if I leave it on a desk and walk away from it. I want it to get nervous and anxious and make a fuss. There are tons of apps that will help you find your phone once you lose it. How about something that will prevent you from losing it in the first place? Pebble watches used to have a notification if you got too far away from your phone. I'm sure someone can pretty easily program an app for Apple Watch and Android watches to do the same thing. You'd have to have a smart watch, but it'd work. I have tons. An alarm clock that emails your boss that you'll be out sick if you hit snooze more than 5 times. An app that interfaces with your phone voice recognition that if starts ringing, if you call out "I'm coming," it will add 5-6 more rings before dropping to voicemail. Off-shift doctor, dentist and eye exam. Good God, I've worked my entire life so that I don't have to work midnights anymore. This achievement is rewarded with me needing to take a vacation day to make a doctor appointment. Just have offices that do appointments from like 5 p 11 p. You'd have so many ducking patients you'd throw up. Kids doctors as well. Vets ducking everyone. Make empty malls into mini cities. Large end stores, Sears, JCPenney and so on, are made into housing. There can be clubs, pharmacies, food, restaurants, and whatever. Plenty of parking and space for living or socializing. A beer app. Ever go to a crowded bar and have to wait for the bartender to make 50 complicated drinks, and all you want is a beer? Well, there'd be an app hardware combo. Scan a code or whatever, and the kiosk blinks. Bartender knows you want beer A, B or C. Bartender brings it over. The tip is built in, and you get back to whatever you were doing. So the bartender might like it because they'll get the tip of or more, and not even have to interact with anyone. I have it all written out with all the details and it seems to make sense. Don't wanna give away all my secrets, but I know I'll never develop it hijacking my own post. This is not meant to be a pour your own beer type of thing. Those exist and are a lot of money upfront to implement. Mine would be under 000 for a bar to set up. Probably, it would draw business because beer drinkers would know they can get a quick beer in a slammed bar. Bartenders would like it because they could collect tips with minimal effort. Who wouldn't pour a beer for? It can be set up so they don't have to interact with the patrons. That way, beer drinkers can't queue a beer to cut in line. Yeah, gimme that beer, and a Long Island. 2 shots of Jaeger, whiskey Coke, and what does that other guy want? If anyone has experience with this sort of thing, shoot me a DM. Comfortable full body VR. Voice controlled pet door. I would love nothing more than to be able to have a pet door that can open or close just by me shouting, "Alexa, let the dog out," so I don't have to get up and do it myself. I swear, every time I get comfy on the couch and get about 10 minutes into a show or movie, one of my dogs is standing by the back door wanting to be let out. Then, I have to do it all again 5 minutes later when they want in. My sister, who hates Alexa and Google Home devices and refuses to get one, says that when that comes out, and she can afford it, she'll finally break down and allow one in her house. A government department that specializes in streamlining other departments in order to cut down bureaucracy and improve efficiency. While they may attempt to save money, they also have the power to increase budgets if deemed appropriate, such as buying secondary monitors for staff or better printers. Well, this is probably going to get buried in the comments, but I have a relatively good idea for increasing security of stolen phones. You see, people sometimes forget their phones on trains, planes, etc. Luckily there are apps like Find My iPhone. These are great and all. Once you activate, your phone is lost. It will not turn off, make beep beep noises, for the lack of better terms, and even shows where your phone is on a GPS. The problem is, however, that people are usually not aware that their phones are missing at times. One way that thieves counter this is by turning the phone off until they get somewhere safe. Turning the phone off only takes a few seconds, much shorter than the time it takes to realize your phone is missing and find another phone to turn on. Find My iPhone, essentially giving the thief a huge advantage. My suggestion, add a mode to the settings called Secure Shut Off. This makes it that whenever you wish to turn off your phone, you must enter your screen passcode. What this does is increase the amount of time you have to use the Find My iPhone app. We do not turn our phones on off so often that this would be a nuisance. There are no downsides to this. Let's say someone does not like this, then they can turn it off in the settings. Well, this is probably going to get buried in the comments, but I have a relatively good idea for increasing security of stolen phones. You see, people sometimes forget their phones on trains, planes, etc. Luckily there are apps like Find My iPhone. These are great and all. Once you activate your phone as lost, it will not turn off, make beep beep noises, for the lack of better terms, and even shows where your phone is on a GPS. The problem is, however, that people are usually not aware that their phones are missing at times. One way that thieves counter this is by turning the phone off until they get somewhere safe. Turning the phone off only takes a few seconds, much shorter than the time it takes to realize your phone is missing and find another phone to turn on. Find My iPhone, essentially giving the thief a huge advantage. My suggestion, a sports commentating website where anyone can commentate. They'd also have streaming rights to various sports, so you can pick the Vikings game and instead of listening to Joe Buck, you could listen to two funny hammer dudes that love football from Idaho. Could monetize it with partnerships like YouTube. We all get laser guns to shoot at other cars when we're driving. You can light up other cars at will. Cops get notified when a car gets too hot or a repeat offender is in the area, but just a few people would never be able to affect anything by themselves or acting as small groups. Crowdsourced to end shitty driving. Protein beer. Tap into that niche gym bro market by making them think it's okay to drink more because protein. Windshield wipers, wait for it, fill glasses. I want an app that could listen to music and transcribe it to sheet music, sorting out the various instrument parts, time signatures, and tempos. I think the technology is probably close, but this would require at least some AI to make it viable. I've thought about creating a website based around this assumption. How many thinkers have ideas they'll never get to, and how many doers are out of ideas? A machine that records your dreams and allows you to play it back like a movie in your head. I know the Japanese have been working on something similar, but I would just like to see it happen sometime in my lifetime because I have crazy dreams I would love to experience again. Years ago I convinced a stockbroker buddy of mine to buy as much Red Hat stock as possible on IPO. I didn't have the cash at the time, but I knew it would be big. He made way more selling it the day after the IPO than if he had waited 18 years when IBM bought it. I insisted he give me nothing for the information. Now I have an open invitation for me and my family to stay with him in the Caribbean anytime I want. 1. The ability to leave a restaurant without having to wait for the waiter. Ask for the check, wait for them to get it, put my card down, wait for them to pick it up and process it and come back, sign, then leave. How about we set it up so that I can just get up and leave too? Laundry in like a half hour. Why do I have to block off like a half a day for this? It's 2020. Fix it. A toilet plunger with a poop knife in the handle, like a cane sword. Dune buggies with mounted paintball guns and electronic power-ups so you can play real-life Mario Kart. My brother and I have about 75% of the tech done, and have run successful racing tests of that portion, but had to sell everything except the IP for personal financial reasons, mortgages, kids need to eat, etc. If be happy to license what we have to somebody else to finish it up. Actual useful AR. Some strides have been made for sure, but it is still pretty far off. I want a pair of glasses or an add-on that feeds information to me. Would also be cool to have some sort of navigation device, maybe a wearable of some sort. Some cool things I would like to see. Quick image search, already being used on many smartphones, but still pretty far off. Navigation obviously. SMS feed hazard detection would be cool, about to bump into something, or something bump into you. Flash of lights to bring your attention to it, depending on the setting and AR device. HUDs. Bitcoin for plants. You have these big companies like Monsanto patenting plants and screwing over farmers. Let the farmers contribute seeds to some sort of co-op that develops and patents new breeds and shares seeds freely with members and licenses out the patents to non-members. Virtually no cost to join but potentially huge benefits, and you could patent troll the hell out of Monsanto until they back the duck off. I want an app that will help us pick where to go for lunch at work. Everyone makes a profile as to what restaurants they are willing to eat at. Then when you assemble the group in the app with the particular participants, it will compare who is in the group and find a place all would be happy with. Expand it to a group decision making app, where everyone in the group is added and it allows them to make suggestions from what movie we're watching or where we want to eat or even where we wanted to go on break. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to Reddit Universe.